application.
Biggest piece of advice?
My biggest piece of advice is honestly learn from the mistakes and ask questions. Like that's the key. Become a question master. No matter how stupid you think the question is, there's always someone to help you, and it's going to keep getting you further and further and further. You never know who you're going to ask the right question to that right person. It's going to open up a whole flood of doors. Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in so far. If you've enjoyed what you've been listening to and you're looking to scale your real estate portfolio, we have our Scalers Only Mastermind that is now open and accepting applications. So, if you'd like to join the family, be a part of the community, and scale your business, all you got to do is click the link below. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Scalers Only Show, where we talk real estate, business, lifestyle, and everything in between. And today, I got Mr. Philly Rob with his Philly cheese. And we're going to talk about how he became Philly Rob and started making the Philly cheese. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm very excited. Let me know.
Yeah, welcome
Let's see
in, man.
what kind of questions you guys have.
Oh my God, I got all the questions.
Really?
You're from Philly. It's just questionable in itself.
So you are a real estate developer, like the true meaning of a developer in Philadelphia. And you know, people can say, "Oh, I'm a residential real estate developer," and they don't develop shit. Like all they're doing is rehabbing houses. You're literally taking homes, destroying them basically with like a wrecking ball, T Swift style, and then coming back in and just rebuilding. It's kind of wild, actually.
My biggest pet peeve is when my dad says, "Hey, are you like the Property Brothers?"
Dude,
No.
HGTV's ruins everyone's.
We could be the Property
idea of-
Cousins.
Yeah, we could be.
There's some family ties over here.
Yeah, no,
You guys couldn't
Philadelphia is a different animal.
How'd you get your start? How'd you get started in it?
Yes.
I know, but for the listeners.
No, so basically out of school, I worked at a national home builder, Toll Brothers, project manager. So you got like the construction background and experience. And then I kind of was like, you know what? I want to just jump into real estate, do this shit for myself.
Yeah.
How old were you?
25, 26 when I left Toll Brothers. And then, I bought my first house in Philly and I house hacked. And at the same time, when I bought that house in Philly,
Such a common story. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
but for real though, like everyone that's gotten started, it's like, oh, I house hacked first and da da da. Go ahead.
that's what happened. Like there's a great deal on this block that I had really no idea about because I was always in like the bougie sections of Philly, like renting. And someone was like,
Is that
"Look,"
because you're the more bougie cousin or just the better looking cousin?
I would say bougie.
What's a
No, but-
bougie area of Philly?
So I would stay in places like like Old City. You got Graduate Hospital, right? So like a fair
Dude, it's
amount.
interesting there, though. Like, I remember visiting him once where he was staying, and literally I was scared, like, where the heck am I? But then
That's
also you see
how I
this
was
beautiful house,
driving
and then,
down.
like, within one block, it's, like, like, it's ghetto. And literally I had to park, like, 2 streets down, and I'm walking, and, like, there's literally, like, crack deals going on to the left or whatever, and you're walking, I'm like, Robin, where are you living, man? Like, you need some help or something? He's like, no, this is not. I mean, but literally, the entire area ended up getting developed anyways, but gentrification and all that stuff in Philly is
First
crazy.
street I drove down to get to Fishtown, there was just people running in the middle of the street. I was terrified.
Yeah, he was like, hey, don't talk to them.
Like
But
a
me, I'm like,
dirt
hey, how's it
road?
going? He's like, they're dealing crack. Don't say hey. Let's want to buy
corner
some.
boys.
Yeah, the corner boys.
The Sea-Boys, man. The bodegas, the Sea-Boys, the staple of Philadelphia. But no, everyone's good people, right? And it's funny because I know people that bought in the neighborhood I'm currently in like 15 years ago. The same corner boys are still there. They just got a
wild.
little fatter. You know,
They ain't been running much. They've been sitting on that same
they
corner.
haven't changed. But no, yeah, I literally bought my first crib. First house I was one of 3 pack. New construction. Everything else is vacant lots. So I kind of knew like that block was going to get developed. And I have literally a before and after picture. Literally, it's crazy. It's all new construction now. And while I transitioned from Toll Brothers to working at Keller Williams as a realtor, I kind of like, I house hacked, right? I ran out my rooms. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. So I ran the 2 bedrooms upstairs. I lived in the basement. And then on the weekends,
How much did you rent it for?
I would rent each room for $650. and my mortgage was $1,300.
So $1,300.
So I was
they're
chilling.
paying you
Yeah, you
mortgage.
were living for free.
I was living for free.
So yeah, you bought it for like 200 something then.
255 new construction, 10-year tax abatement. So I only paid taxes on the land. And then I would Airbnb my room on the weekends while I was doing, open houses, and I would kind of crash on my own couch in the living room at first to get the savings up, because when you're a realtor, the first 6 months, you're not making shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of like how that began.
Wasn't Philly really strict with the Airbnbs? I remember you saying that.
Recently, so
Okay.
before it was cool, and now since
Before like what year?
2022,
Okay.
they changed all the zoning. So now you have to have CMX3 and you have to have like a license. So you can't do residential unless you pay like a crazy tax, like a hotel tax. So it's like eats in all the profits and becoming more strict because Airbnb sold their info to Philadelphia, so now they can keep track of what's legal or not.
Oh,
So
dang.
it's-
So they have all information of everyone.
Yeah, it's all open source now.
They don't do that here, do they?
I have no idea, man.
Probably well on
you
our
know
way.
what? I took my licks. We got the Airbnb bust going on here, so I'm good with that.
But who's our Airbnb beast? We know one of those, right?
Yeah, we've got a couple people in Scalers only. They're Airbnbs.
Yeah.
We're
So that's
just we're
that's
not.
like house hack to the extreme. So you would do Airbnb on the weekends. You already had the other 2 rooms rented.
So
Yeah.
what's funny is it was 2 of my friends from Penn State, right? And when I was when the house was being built, I went on Snapchat and I just posted a pic. I was like, room for rent. And this kid that I was friends with in summer session, I haven't talked to him like a year and a half, hit me up. And he was just like, yo, I'm down to rent. I was like, cool. He's like, my boy is also down to rent. I was like, sweet. And then they just moved in. And,
DTR.
Huh?
DTR.
What's that?
Down to rent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Should we start posting our rental stuff on Snapchat now? Is that the new leasing?
What's funny
Your
though,
new leasing platform?
that same kid is still my roommate today.
No
He's
way.
built a nice new home, too. He got this. He's
Drew-
built his
Drew
nice
up his
custom.
rent?
Yeah, I did. But literally, I bought a house in 2020 across the street. It was a corner property with a garage, and I added a 3rd story. And then I
Oh,
was
talk about that story. How'd you add that, and how'd your neighbors like that?
yeah, neighbors, man, they're fun. No, this is an off-market deal. I talk to this dude all the time, like just as I lived there. We were neighbors, we chilled, and one day he just hit me up and was like, hey, I want to sell. Do you want to list this for me? And I looked at it, I was like, I always wanted a corner property with a garage. Parking in South Philly, awful. It sucks. Like, it's the worst. So if you have parking, you're a king. And I was like, this is an opportunity to get a corner property. It's 18 feet wide. Normal properties are like 14 to 15 in South Philly. So if you got something that's 18, like, it's a big statement. And they sold it to me. And then the whole process, I had to go through zoning because it was illegal. The dude built the house literally with no permits, nothing.
Built
Yeah.
the house
Yeah,
with
entire
no
house.
permits?
So he built this house in 2006.
So if we have like a gutter laying out in front, we get slapped with
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it was a Wild Wild West back before like 2012.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like
It's crazy. Everything he's learned and
What a
been
world.
through doing it's like like he's been through everything you can ever think of in any real estate, different like leasing, house hacking, renting, permits, construction, like anything.
Dead bodies.
I've
Had any of those yet?
seen bloodstains.
Okay.
So I've seen a lot.
I know it was there. I know it was there.
You know it was there. But yeah, this dude built this house completely illegal. So when I went to go pull
wild.
permits, they were just like,
There
hey,
were none.
this doesn't exist. Like they knew it was there, but they were like, there's no permits. Like, what is it? And I was
Yeah.
like, it's a single family, single family. And they were like, yeah, you gotta go through zoning. So I had to do that. Neighbors, I had to get I pretty much flooded the neighborhood Zoom. They were doing this RCO meetings, they call it, on Zoom. I got my whole KW office to just vote for me so I can get a 3rd story addition, garage approved. And neighbors there's 2 jealous neighbors that their views may be blocked, but it is what it is. It's a city. That's just, you bought the property, you can't change the location.
Right.
Rude, man. Freaking rude.
Yeah.
No consideration for his neighbors.
I wanted a roof deck.
I want a roof deck.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
It's a great thing. But yeah, so I moved there, and my roommate from the house, because it's across the street, I was like, why don't you come on over? So I just upped his rent, but We're chill.
You still have the other house too, right? You're renting that out, or?
Yeah. That's my first house. It's my baby. That's my cash cow. You know, I'm never gonna sell that. I put down a 15-year note. You know, I got like 10 years left on that. I'm chilling. And it cash flows.
That is what I love about those Philly row houses. That like top roof deck that they all have. It's awesome.
Yeah, 30 stories.
Yeah, so they're the one thing that's different is like, you know, compared to, you know, a market like ours, we're in Columbus, obviously, is we don't have like these giant row homes that have 14-foot lots and you basically have to tear it all down and they were built in 18 God knows what, you know. So like the differences between like that and say like a Midwest market or even out west, it's so construction heavy because you're literally having to go back and fix hundreds of years of problems, you know. Talk about that, like how.
What's your
like,
typical rehab? Like for us, it's cosmetic stuff, or you know, here and there, unless you're doing new construction. What's a typical flip or rehab for you?
First off,
because it's wild to me to think about.
I'm jealous of you guys, right? Because
You can just go paint carpet and put it to market. What?
Hey, listen, that's Phoenix and them, right?
He's like, I have
Yeah,
some
no, I mean like
we got
Phoenix,
basements.
Phoenix, Texas, like all these other markets that are crashing now. I mean, we're still like keeping value, you know. But yeah, I mean, we have a mix of old and new, but yeah, we don't touch old stuff.
everybody's like, I can get in and out of deals in 4 months. I'm like, huh? That's how long it takes me to get permits. I can't even start.
Christ.
So, yeah, basically, my first ever running into this issue, I bought, me and my partner, we bought together 3 homes. Like, basically how this started was we're sitting at the KW desks, right? We're back to back. And I was like, I want to own rentals. I don't want to do this forever. And she was, at the time, she was like, yeah, me too. We're like, all right, well, let's just go buy stuff. And we literally had this package of 3 homes in this area called Port Richmond. And every house, and if you're familiar with Fishtown, all those homes were built like shit. Every addition you get, because they have all these bullshit additions, are built on dirt. So when we started demoing the interior, the inspector came, there was like, yeah, you gotta tear down this shed. It's literally on nothing. You gotta amend your plans. I was like, what is going on? Like, this is basically like, to me, new construction at the time.
Yeah.
And every house is built like shit. It's all on dirt. So you gotta literally tear it down, pour new footers, extend it back, square it off.
They settle over there then?
They all settle. Like, it's crazy. So everyone was building these additions in like the 70s and the 80s. So it's like there's like a wild, wild west. So that was my first like, wow, like I do this to every house pretty much. And now we got to the point where like we look at a house, you give me a lot dimensions, address, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna tear it down, keep the foundation, raise the joists, and then build. And they still consider that like a rehab. Like it's kind of crazy. Like Philly, like right now I have a property, right? I tore off the rear wall. I tore off the side wall, like, because there's an easement, right? So that easement alley, it's like an L shape. I tore that off, tore the back off. I got to tear down the foundation.
What did you
right?
keep then? Is there anything?
And then I was talking to my partner. I'm like, we should have just done new construction. All we kept was the front. And what's funny now? We're going to reframe the front and then put on new brick anyway. So it's basically
like
new construction at this
brand new.
point. But you save costs on sprinklers, a new water line, and then like other like bullshit. So yeah, and you save some money. But regardless, yeah, we're tearing.
But do you
this
save
up.
time?
You save time, exactly. Because the excavation, that's a problem with like the city now. There's all these regulations, and because there's houses that collapse.
Yeah.
Another point with the old city neighborhood, these foundations are 100+ year old.
Wow.
They're all rubble.
Yeah.
So you get calls from neighbors. Yeah, I can go on and on about that.
How do you knock down the houses?
How do you?
Yeah.
All right, here's the process, man. First off, it takes 45 days to get a demo permit. So I'm doing one. I'm in the middle of one
I can see
right now.
why.
Yeah.
To be fair.
You gotta get signatures from both neighbors, and if they don't sign, it's basically an acknowledgement form. And if they don't sign, you got to basically wait 60 days until they'll issue your permit. So you pray that they sign. If they sign, now you have to make all these plans, like utility, like these monitoring plans for safety. In the meanwhile, you're waiting 45 days to demo it. So once they start demo, basically, it's basically by hand, essentially. Like they're just tearing everything out from the inside out, right? So inside, they'll start demoing all the interior walls. Then they'll start removing the joists, and then they'll work their way out. It's just messy, it's risky, but you get the better outsell for new construction.
So the stuff, I mean, I'm counting numbers in my head, but I mean, you have to buy so low, and because you have, I'm assuming you have a couple $100,000 every bit in each property, right? And then you have to sell for this astronomical number on the back end.
Yeah.
So that's why properties cost that much in Philly. Now you know.
But that's just wild. I mean, like the biggest rehab that we've done, I think we did like a $250,000 one time, and then we took on a couple projects that were close to like the 200 mark.
Yeah.
And dude, it has been the worst 18 months trying to like finish these couple projects out.
Yeah.
Just because they take so long, and then you're just carrying the interest, you're carrying the taxes, you're using your resources and your guys, and you're like, they could have did like 20 different projects at the same time they did 3.
Yeah.
Like
Could have built brand new for
Yeah.
basically, you know what I mean?
I'm basically for our rehabs, we're pretty much at like 165 a square foot, and that's like me GCing with no fee. We're at like 165 a square foot. So like these extensive rehabs, like they're a lot of detail because we're in the luxury market, so pretty much all our stuff's $1 million and up. So there's a lot of attention to detail. We have to pay higher for subs, but to me, it's worth it.
Yeah.
I got burned by subs in the past. I have, PTSD from terrible GCs, which led me to getting my GC license, and we're just doing now everything in-house, controlling it.
It just seems like because it's so construction heavy, that's the only way you can really, really start to scale in that market is if you own the construction piece.
Yes, I know people that are in our market that went through trial and tribulations, went through like a couple GCs, and they're like barely breaking even, but they're just like, how are you guys making money? And we're like, because we're building in-house. That's the only way we can do it.
Is Philly like the rest of PA where there's like a lot of red tape to get anything done? I mean, you couldn't even buy beer at a gas station until like 10 years ago.
Yeah, like I said.
In Pittsburgh?
Yeah, you had to go to beer. You had to go to
even
distributors.
besides that, even when
Couldn't
like
get Yingling. Like,
Yeah.
the politics is crazy from what I hear from him, but even like when COVID hit, I mean, we were still lucky. He was screwed. They wouldn't let him do anything.
Yeah, you
Oh,
were
really?
non-essential.
Dude,
He was like, "What the heck is going?" He called me. He's like, "How are you guys
Unessential.
working?"
Housing isn't essential. Huh?
Imagine being a realtor,
It's
you
so
can't
comical,
show
isn't it?
houses, and when you do go show a house, cops come because the neighbors snitch on you, right?
What?
And then I got fined because I told my GCs, like, yeah, keep building. Like, I'm not paying this interest, like, while this lockdown's happening.
Yeah.
And then I get fined by L&I. That's the Philadelphia's, like, code inspectors. Yeah, they also just rob you. Building permits increased. Like, they now charge me like a 1% development fee as of 2022 on the total cost of construction that you put on your permit. So they just
So
keep
do you fluff up or down?
Well, you want to fluff up to help you on the tax abatement, but now it's like, damn, I'm like spending.
Is it worth it? Right.
Yeah, like it sucks, but the abatement's still very valuable because if you're building new construction, you only pay the taxes on the land. So that's a huge cost.
And that's another thing that's pushing prices up.
What's that? The
The
abatement?
tax abatement, because now someone can afford way more with.
That's true.
Well, yeah, because
abated.
those taxes down there are probably like $1,000 a month.
Yeah, so like Graduate Hospital, for example, that's where a lot of my stuff is. Taxes there are like $8K a year,
Yep.
right? And if you got the abatement, you're probably gonna pay like $4K, which is great. So it helps people come into the neighborhood. That's why
Yeah.
they did it, for growth.
How do you scale on the rental side in a market like that where everything's so expensive, construction piece is so difficult? Like how?
What kind of cap
How's that
rates you
work?
got in
Okay,
Philly?
so
Like,
I'm not gonna lie. This is because I'm so
it's a
jealous.
negative cap
because
rate.
I have my discussions with my boys all the time. I'm like, how do people cash flow in Philly? Unless you're in like these very sketchy neighborhoods, right? The
Yeah.
class D, C. I'm not in that market, so I can't really speak on it. But I literally make a couple hundred, if that, and we're just banking on equity. I got to the point now. I'm like, these properties definitely appreciated. We put a lot of equity into it, so I'm comfortable right? Like if I'm cash flowing, like it's sort of like
Even a couple $100.
yeah, like $100. I'm cool with it because all the work like I did, so I just call my subs. They take care of it, but everything's new.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be that many issues.
Right. So for the next 5 to 10 years, you're good. Just
I'm
ride that
chilling.
thing out. Yeah.
And I got equity. And that's when, like, if people ask me about the market, and I say, look, if I'm building equity, like the sweat equity, whatever, like, I'm still kind of, I have like a shield. That's my philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have built
That's your safety
equity.
net.
Yeah, like, it's like, whatever. My time, I lose my time, I break even. I mean, it's a lesson learned. But
Yeah.
in reality, we're holding on to these things.
So there was a not a story, but I guess a story I heard. There was a guy in Brooklyn who bought a bunch of row houses, kind of similar to Philly, and he had a shit ton. I think it was like $30 million worth of them, and he was barely he was doing everything himself. Had his crew of guys, would actually physically collect the rent. We're talking on $30 million worth of assets in New York, but him knowing that if I can just hang on for 3 to 5 years, I can offload these things and make $20 million.
Is that like 2
That's
houses in New York?
Yeah.
But it's like
3.
Well, I think it was in Brooklyn, but
Okay, 5.
but it's just wild to me to think because most people are like in this for cash flow and to be able to like live on the dividends of these properties. And it's like in those markets you really can't. But all you're doing is like removing properties from the market, and then because people need a place to live, re-putting them on the market and be like, here you go, but you're gonna have to pay me a premium to do that.
That's a good point.
It's
Yeah,
kind of a
actually,
crazy
I
way
thought about that.
crazy way to invest in real estate, but you can actually make a lot of freaking money.
I hear all the time on Bigger Pockets, the 1% rule. And like I hear in other markets, like everyone's doing 1%. I'm like, where does 1% work?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make any sense. And
Definitely not if you're $1 million and up, because who's going to rent a house for 11 grand?
Exactly. So that's why,
A
like,
month.
that's like, so my strategy is like, look, I build these, single family homes, but then I also will put the money towards rentals, right? So I'm a mix. I'm probably like a 50-50 for buy and hold, right? So yeah, like I get so jealous of the 1%ers, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Where does this make sense?
You communists, you hate those 1%ers, huh?
So yeah, there's different philosophies. I'm just an equity guy, so I look at all my properties as just like stock, right? And it's just
Long-term
like,
holds.
Long-term
Long-term,
holds. Like, and I
yeah,
have my
they'll
walking around
appreciate.
money, and I put everything in the savings, aka real estate.
Yeah.
So as long as I got enough walking around money and I reinvest it, I'm cool.
You still got crypto?
I just have some just lingering that I just don't touch, but I'm not focusing it. I'm not.
Yeah, he was in Ethereum a long time ago. That paid his way through college.
Really?
No shit.
Yeah, I paid my college. It was crazy. I was at I was living in the sublease waiting for my new home to be built, and this bachelor party, right? Like my roommate was having a bachelor party. This guy from Texas was like, yeah, you should invest in like Ethereum. I was like, how do you even pronounce that? What the hell is Ethereum? Like, I know nothing about it.
When was this?
This is 2015.
Like real early.
2016, yeah. Right there. $20 a share. And I made money on stocks from like whatever, like from like the bull run they had in 2015, 2016. And I was like, you know what? I'll put all this shit on Ethereum and forget about it. And then literally like everyone kept talking about it, and then I just looked into it and it was like, oh shit, it's at like now $1,200 a share. And I was like, I'm just gonna cash out, pay for college, pay off the car, and then
That was smart where it's at right now.
yeah.
Dude, entering at $20, crap.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus,
like, yeah,
right?
it's all hindsight, but yeah, lesson learned. Like, if I like with those things, if I bought early enough, yeah, my mindset now is like just forget it and just hope.
Set and forget.
Yeah, that's my theory.
But for our viewers too, there's certain people that think that you're going to eventually live on the cash flow of your investments.
Yes.
And I think lesson learned here is like, at some point you got to have other income streams to be able to have those investments compound interest for you.
Right.
So whereas in some markets, yeah, you can get your 1% rule and then you start living on your cash flow. But in other markets, yeah, you're going to have a way higher net worth. You're just going to have less cash flow. Whereas in other markets, you may not have the net worth increase, but you're going to have more cash flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're riding the upside.
Yeah, and it's more risky for sure. Now, the granted is, right, I believe that interest rates will go back to not where we were at, but it's going to go back to historical levels.
4%, something
No,
like
I'd
that.
say it'd be at 5. And I'm cool with that because my deals barely cash flow at the current rate. I know I can refi. Like, it's going to happen at some point if I can hold out long enough. I did like 7-year ARMs recently that are 30-year amortization. So I feel like I'm a betting man in the next 7 years. I can whatever, refi, and I'll get back to, like a little bit more cash flow, but the equity will be there because I'm buying in the city. And I just believe in the city. I know my city that I feel like these things are going to benefit me, in the next 10 to 15 years.
Well, now you got Eagles going to Super Bowls. You got
Yeah,
76ers
going
that are
on right
doing good.
Yeah.
I mean,
One more
Sixers
game,
are
Game 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Celtics. So, yeah. We'll see.
How are you picking neighborhoods? I know for a lot of people they're like, hey, invest in your backyard, or everyone has like their thing that they pick out neighborhoods. Grant Cardone's like, I gotta look for a Starbucks, I invest right by there.
Chick-fil-A, find a
for a
Chick-fil-A.
But yeah, for us it's like look for
It is Chick-fil-A.
look for Dollar General.
My philosophy is
JKDG.
where I would want to live at is where I would want to rent to people like me, right? So like I just being like in comfortable areas where the rental's high and I can have good tenants. And that's not for everybody, right? Like for me, if I have the option to do that, yeah, I'll take that. I'd rather deal with those, like people like me. Like, it's just easier. And
We need people like him.
yeah, right.
Nothing against our renters whatsoever. It's a whole different.
No, but like it's just like where I would like to live at, and I have a little more expensive taste, and I just like that lifestyle.
Does it make it more fun for you too to be able to like
the higher end
stuff
Yeah.
and just like kind of
Yeah, like I get to appeal to I get to get more creative. I like putting money into rentals. It's funny because some people will think like my rental, their flips are my rentals, right?
Yeah.
So like I like that, and the people like I have a mix right now. Actually, like my first rentals I talked about, they're in like Class C neighborhoods.
How many do you have now?
Yeah, over 2,000. I'm just like.
Wow.
Like I kind of like I have a spreadsheet.
Even acquiring them, crap.
Yeah, we have a lot going on right now. A lot of
Monopoly
units.
Mastermind.
I'm just like I can't keep track anymore. Honestly, as long as my systems are in place, I know it's there and it's taken care of. But yeah, I have a mix. And my first properties, they were like in those neighborhoods, and I had the most difficult time just like dealing with these tenants. But the better neighborhoods, it's a lot been easier, and they're more like useless. Like the people like in my thing, they call a lot more because they're like, I don't know how to put this blind up, like can you do, or like change a light bulb, that type of stuff. So like
I hate that shit.
yeah. But if you have your systems in place, and it can be all taken care of. So that's what I do, and I do that for flips and stuff because in a changing market. Right, like if you're in these neighborhoods, people want to be in those neighborhoods, and you have more established people like buying. So that's where I like to stick at.
What would the rent be like in one of those nicer areas?
So we're building, a couple units in these, grandiose areas, and we're gonna be looking for 4,500 for like a 2-bedroom. They're condos.
Philly.
Yeah. Like they're.
To them, that's not bad. To us, we're like, that's a big, that's a house over here in the suburbs.
So do you get any backlash? Bobby brought up the big G word, gentrification, but do you get any backlash from like city leaders, politicians, neighborhood, anybody at all, just for like what you're doing?
Man, it's kind of crazy. I'll put it this way: Philly's very corrupt. I can go in this whole thing, but essentially, I don't know if you guys know how Philly is set up, but there's councilmen people in each neighborhood, and they have total authority.
Like aldermen.
Yeah, I mean, we have similar.
They have no term limits. They can downzone things. So, it's kind of wild, right? I'll give you a quick example of my neighborhood. People, and even in other neighborhoods, literally, they will have homes that are zoned for multifamily, right? Which, the wealth there is like, all right, like developers will buy it, they can put density in, and then people, like, because a lot of people want to leave the city, right? There's like old Philly people that they just want to move to the suburbs. They can get their cash, people, developers offer them because they can build multifamily. Councilmen have the prerogative and authority to just strip all the zoning, downzone it, strip all the wealth because they don't want to lose their constituents. And they do that on purpose because they'll lose the vote because now they can't get, because they have no term limits. So they purposely do these things and they say, oh, well, it's for we don't want to stop gentrification. It's all pandering.
Yeah.
And I've seen this all the time. In my neighborhood, there's these industrial warehouses. And these owners of these warehouses are waiting till the zoning becomes where a developer can offer them max amount of money and put all this density in. And they keep dangling this carrot because the councilman's like, oh yeah, we'll eventually change it. They never change it because they know once they change it, they'll get voted out.
That's wild.
It's so corrupt.
It's all that power in one person, pretty much.
It's crazy.
Well, then off air, you said, I guess going to this more, you said neighbors will extort you.
Yes. So I've noticed.
Extorted Rob.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's getting
mob.
He's Robin Banks and
getting robbed
him.
by the permits,
Dude.
robbed by the neighbors.
I can't tell you.
His name's Rob.
It's a tough mark.
I need access agreements, right? Because you are literally touching every house. So this happens in all aspects, right? When you build a 3rd story next to a 2-story, right? You gotta seal your property and their property, or they'll get leaks. I can't tell you how many times where I send my guys up, and they want to build the cricket for the roof, like the roof patch, and tar over it. And literally, neighbors all the time, you're on my roof, I'm calling the cops. And the cops come, and they just look at you because we're telling them, listen, this is for the benefit of all of us. It protects your house and my house leaking, and you don't want rodents in your house, right? So this happens more often than you think, and these people will try to extort you for cash because you technically have to be on their roof. So they will literally pull out all stops, make you not go on the roof. It's kind of crazy, and the signing people get sketched out because they're like, shit, I don't want to get in trouble or anything like that. And this most recent property I had to build, literally, I was building an end unit. There's 3 properties that backed up into that house, and I had to get access agreements from all of
Every
them.
single one.
So it's been very difficult. But I try to tell them I do goodwill, and I just need 2 days for siding. That's all it is. 2 days for siding, I'm good. But this happens more than often than not, and I can't tell you how many times where I get insurance files claimed on every property that I built, because they'll all say my property is leaking or my property, and you can tell they've had leaks in the past, right? And they just wait till construction starts to file an insurance claim, and then I get the letter, and it's just never ending bullshit.
Man, when people see an opportunity, you know what I mean, or they see it's
On the way here, he was like, I got a lost another one today. I'm like, welcome to the club. I was like, talk to Terry about that one.
It's freaking
crazy,
wild, man. Anytime someone sees an opportunity, you're absolutely right.
And if they
they're
see
gonna-
you
they're gonna
doing
jump on it.
houses, they're like, this rich man, I'm gonna take him down.
Yeah,
It's
and you can't for instance, in our company, on the property management portfolio side, no one knows I own anything, right? Dude, someone will come up to the front because we got a couple entrances for different companies.
Terry runs them.
And I'm like, if they catch me outside, they're like, "Hey, what about?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just
Hey,
work here."
I hope they never see. I hope they never see this show because now they know. I saw you, TikTok Terry.
Actually, it is funny. I had this run-in with neighbor literally 2 days ago. I would say she's a Karen, the ultimate Karen, because we had a concrete truck block the street for 30 minutes to an hour while they're pouring concrete in her backyard and the front sidewalk. And she comes out, hand on her hip, just sloppy.
You could already tell, right?
Yeah, I already knew what was going to happen. And she was just like, you can't have this concrete truck blocking the street. You should have notified all the neighbors, blah, blah, blah. She's like, you should get a smaller concrete truck. I'm like, relax. How would you handle it? How would you do this? And she's like, I poured concrete before with bags. I'm like, yo, there's yards of concrete, but okay, that would take a lot longer. And she's going off about, and there's some fucked up parts about Philly. So every new construction property, you have to put in a new water line, which causes you dig a hole in the street. Now, you have to wait for the streets department to patch the hole. I, as a courtesy, will have my plumbers patch it temporarily. I don't have tar. I'm not the streets department. I don't have the equipment. So we'll do our best we can. And you know, when you have a heavy water rain, all that shit just goes away. And then I get calls, the streets potholes again. Meanwhile, this is everywhere in Philly. And it's the streets department that can't keep up. So I get yelled at by all the neighbors. They think it's my fault. I'm like, dude, it's the streets department. So this Karen literally blaming me. And, you know, sometimes I just want to pull out the race card. Sometimes I want to be like, what, are you being racist on Brown? Like, I gotta start doing that more often because literally they're just getting all flustered.
Did she ask to speak to your manager?
You should do that move. Hold on 1 second. Let me get them. Turn around. Hello, how can I help you?
I would actually start
Bobby
using
shows
that. I
up.
was like, you know what? Let me go get my manager.
Yeah. Actually, she did. She called my business partner, and then he had to.
Oh, she really did?
Oh, yeah. Because she was like.
I was joking.
No. She literally like got my business partner's phone number from the neighbor, and then she just started calling him, and then he just hung up on her because like you're too much. And also on top of that, the garbage truck, right? They couldn't pick up half of the block's garbage. And in reality, what they do is the garbage people, you know, they'll tell the city they didn't get to pick up the garbage. I get a call from the neighbors like, hey, they didn't pick up the garbage because of your concrete truck, so you got to pick up all their garbage. And I was like, huh? I'm not a trash man. Like, dude, it's like never ending. And this comes from like being a contractor and developer in the city. It's crazy. In the city, they hate developers for the most part. But I'm building a place in the main line. And literally, you know, everyone's just cheering you on. Everyone's like, I wanted to see this house fixed up for so long. They're like, can't wait to see the finished product. I'm like, yeah, come on in. In the city, they just tear you down.
Dude, housing's such a crazy thing because you get the certain group of people. It's like, oh, now my property taxes are going up because you guys are kicking everybody out and blah blah blah. You're so evil, blah blah blah. Then you have the other people that's like cheering, like you said, cheering you on.
There was
Thank God someone
crackheads in
did
this
something.
property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You're never
It's
gonna
like,
please
what do you really
everybody.
want if you
Can't
live
please
in a
everyone.
neighborhood?
You want nicer looking houses, right? You would think.
One would think
Your property
one
value
would
goes up.
think.
If your taxes are going up, that means your property value is going
One
up,
would
right?
think.
Maybe.
I
No?
think it comes down to like people just don't want to see other people win, and that's a huge problem in our entire society. Is the amount of people that just feed on negativity and don't want to see other people win.
I'm just here to build a house.
I'm just having fun building these luxury houses.
I love
Bob the Builder over here.
I love building. I love designing. I love seeing the finished product. I love seeing the happy faces. Right, like it gives me joy. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
At the same time, you know, people will complain about like, you know, the housing prices, etc. I'm like, look, don't look at me. Look at the government.
Yeah.
You guys make it difficult for developers to build. Hence, there's a housing shortage. And they'll be like, well, developers are being greedy with their rents, etc. Honestly, we're not here for charity, right? Developers are here to make a living, and the market sets the rate. If you're not getting the rent, you have to drop it.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you want to do something about it, you build a house.
Yeah. How
But they
about,
won't.
how about you build a house?
And that's my response on Twitter. Unfortunately, I see I get a little
get
riled up
hate mail?
sometimes. Yeah, like I just see these tweets, and especially Philadelphia, and they're just all anti everything. And even on the Facebook groups, I'm sure I've been mentioned on the neighborhood Facebook groups from these Karen neighbors.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's some of these people. You know, they're like all about, you know, development until it's in their backyard.
Until it's in their back, dude. I love that saying because it's so true. Everyone is all for.
We're growing. We're
housing.
growing. Wait, not in my backyard.
Not my backyard.
Stop.
You know, the whole thing between multi and single family and having the zoning for multifamily instead of single family, everyone's for it until it's in their backyard. And then they're like, nah, we can't have this. We can't have this.
Yeah.
Have you thought about going to like a more investor friendly market, or are you just planted your roots so firmly in?
It's interesting
Philly.
to bring that up because I know several developers in Philly, right? A lot of them are building in Florida, and they say how great it is, and I believe them. Like
Florida keeps coming on, man. that
I
damn
imagine
state.
it is.
Until it ends up in the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine it is, but I just know. But for me, I look at it as more opportunity, right?
Because people don't want to go through what you have to go through.
Yeah,
Say like a barrier to entry in your
less
market seems pretty
competition.
tough. Like
It
most
is.
people here in Columbus wouldn't do that. I mean,
No.
that would weed out 90% of the people here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the like my architect who sent me those regulations, you know, they were just like, we had to get the neighbor signatures for every project you do, or you would delay 60 days. You know, if I can find a way to overcome that, you know, then I have the one hand, you know, the upper hand.
Yeah.
So for me, more opportunity. I mean, I like Philly. I know my market, and just tell me a street lot size, and I'll know exactly what it's worth.
You're gonna hit New York next? Is that your next place?
No, I'm
getting
not
ready.
New York, guys. This is way beyond. I don't know how they build out there. I imagine it's more red tape. Like, it's crazy.
Is there less competition with the luxury style properties as well?
Yeah. So it's kind of sucks, right? Because I live in
Those
like
are the ones
South-
that people love to see too. Right?
Yeah.
Finished product, build up, row house.
I live in South Philly, right, where you were, and they have the worst developers. Like, they have the most like shitty. Like, I see houses that are like abandoned.
Cookie cutter.
Yeah, like they're like halfway built and they just stop because they probably run out of money.
Yeah.
But then that's why I like these better neighborhoods where you have like people that actually care, and it's less competition because the price point's higher. But I love it. Like, yeah, it's more risk, way more risk. But I'm underwriting my stuff like very detailed. Like, my partner, he's so aggressive with his out sales, and I'm like, we're yin and yang. That's why we work well together.
Yeah.
Because he's Mr. like go go go. I'm trying to like hold back. He's like a turkey running loose, right? I'm trying to hold him back. Keep the ARVs lower so we still have margins in worst case scenarios, and then we'll buy it.
Sure. What so how are you sourcing all these deals?
So we door knocked, and that's our bread and butter. That's how our business became when we were realtors, right? Me and my business partner, we were just door knocked. I remember the summer of 2019, even in 2020. We were just door knocking, and we were just hot as shit. We're sweating out there, but we're hitting pretty much every door in this neighborhood because we know what to identify.
Yeah.
And we're personable, right? And everyone, it's kind of crazy. Everyone like recognizes me. I don't know, because I have my business card, right? And there's only so many brown people, like I said, in real estate. So like they like all recognize. Like I just look racially ambiguous. Like,
racially ambiguous.
Because they're just like, what are you? Like,
What are you? You look at the Rock, but you're not.
like,
Are you a mini rock?
I'm not like in different neighborhoods. Like, if they think I'm Puerto Rican, I'll just be like, yeah.
See. See. No. See.
Like, I just roll with it. So yeah, like
Ultimate chameleon.
right?
See, white people, we can't do that.
But so my business partner is white,
Can you imagine Terry door knocking and trying to get properties? You'd have more like complaints. This guy came up and said so.
Bulldog showed up and he threatened me.
They don't even let him say hi. They look at him like.
So door knocking, and then literally we just drive for dollars and make phone calls. And then honestly, at this point now, I have a lot of realtor colleagues, and they'll just hit me up. They'll hit us up like, hey, we got a deal. Are you interested? I'm real quick. I also people like us.
Is there a ton of wholesalers there?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
There are, but there's a select only good ones. And,
What makes a good and bad one out there?
So the good ones are still around after the high interest rates. Because a lot of these ones fell out.
Yep.
Shout out to G Buys Philly. That's my man. And he was actually out here. You should network with him, but very good wholesaler. I bought from him several deals. And, there's only I only buy a handful from wholesalers because, they come right with the actual good numbers.
Good numbers.
They understand. Those are hard to come by.
Yeah.
Very hard to come by.
But I mean, in a market like that too, I'm just because everyone kind of knows what things are worth and the amount of developers that are there. I mean, it seems like it's much more of a traditional go through a realtor, or it's like a realtor circle almost, instead of like a wholesaler circle market.
Yeah, so I don't see too many wholesalers in the neighborhoods we're in.
Yeah.
But, in the outskirts, there's a ton of wholesalers. There are. But, again, I don't know that market too well, so I don't really dive into it. And, honestly, in these particular neighborhoods we're in, the neighbors, they're very, they all have lawyers. You know what we're doing with.
Talk to my lawyer. I'm just talk to my lawyer.
They're very smart. They know, they will never sell to a wholesaler, right?
But they also know, hey, if I want to take this property to the next level, I got to invest $300 grand or for whatever the number is. Or, you know what, I'll take, a couple $100,000 less, not have the money out of pocket, and I still walk away with some money.
Exactly. That's kind of what we do. We're people to people. It's a people's business, and that's the people we like working with.
How's the economy doing out in Philly? Like, do you still have the buyers that want all the luxury, or are there like businesses coming in there, or is it like? Because Because over here, like we get Intel or something, that's a big booster economy, but certain things build areas. Other than that, it's not just more.
I read the recent market statistic, and like in the Northeast, it's actually like 2% up. Like considering Boston, New York, Philly. Basically in Philly, like the market is, the starter home is still very, very in demand because people still need housing.
What's a starter home cost out there?
400 and under.
Nice starter homes out there.
Yeah, 400 and under, and then $1 million and up so far has been so good.
Is that more the middle class than out there, like comparatively? I mean,
it's the people that basically it's like they know they're going to be in Philly and they're going to send their kids to a charter school versus public school, right?
Yeah.
And
they don't care about school district at that point.
No, because they're going to go to charter school and they have the money to do so. So the $1 million and up, that's where I feel comfortable in. And like my developers, they're building, like they just put on the market 4 homes that are $4.5 million. Now I haven't seen a Philly row house that big. And by the way, it costs $1.25 million for them to build these houses. They're like incredible. But
and how many square feet are these places?
They're like 4,200 square feet, 3-car, parking. Like they're the most expensive new construction houses.
We need one of those. What does $1 million get you in Philly?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, that market, I like, right? But the hard market's honestly between 550 and like 750. Because I had listings in that price point that just wouldn't move. Yeah. Because it's those people that are like, it's like my second house. I want to upgrade from a neighborhood.
Yeah. Or they're the people that are actually losing their jobs right now. They're the white collar workers making $150,000 a year, set, comfortable company 5 years, and those are the people that are getting flushed out of the economy right now.
Yes.
We're seeing the same thing.
AI is taking over.
Yeah,
a lot of it.
Dude, tremendously. I mean, no, it's actually similar to us too. Like if it's less than the cost to build, which for us is probably in the 350 range, that stuff still flies off the shelf. But it's that weird price point between like 350 to 650 that's kind of wishy-washy, but then above that too, you're starting to see stuff move too, $1 million plus. But maybe that's knock on wood. But maybe that's more of a nationwide thing. In every crisis, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, like they say. And maybe that's an indication of what is actually happening.
I know developers that were in Philly that left Philly to build in Delray and other parts of Florida, and they're building houses that are spec homes that are $7 million, $12 million. My HVAC guy invested in a deal down there to build a lot or buy a lot for $5 million.
HVAC guy, we need an HVAC business.
An HVAC business.
You said to buy a lot?
Yeah, buy a lot for $5 million in Fort Lauderdale, and him and this other builder
on Las Olas.
I'd say off the aisles right there. Yeah, that's the only spot I can think of.
Is that your old house then?
Deep waters, because I guess there's a demand for people to have
anything on water. Yeah, it's the little Venice, or it's the Venice of America is what Fort Lauderdale is.
Yeah. And they're down there, and he's nervous. He's like, look, I never invested down in Florida. Like he has units in Philly. Like, he has over 100 units in Philly. My HVAC guy, and he's like, we
can't afford that HVAC guy.
And he's like, first time investing in Florida, I'm nervous, but he's like, it is what it is. We'll see what happens in 2 years, because it'll take 2 years to build these homes.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different market. I don't know. That's just the rich. It's like fuck you money.
Yeah.
But in Philly, I don't know how many times you can sell a $4 million house. It's unknown. I'm about to find out, or we're about to see.
What's your next move then? What do you want to get into next? You're still, because you've been progressing from real estate to from being a contractor to real estate to that to being your own. Now you start up a development company too. I saw you and your partner.
Yeah. So me and my business partner Colin, right? We started this development company. It was kind of crazy how we became friends because he had a door knocking class at Keller Williams.
A class.
Door knocking class.
Yeah.
Dude, we need more of that, actually. It makes sense, though.
Don't ring the doorbell.
3 knocks only.
Knock like a drummer.
3 knocks.
It was a mastermind.
That is true.
And there was 40 people there. And, because he was a whiz at getting these deals off market. And so I'm the only one that stuck around. And I was like, let's go door knocking. And literally the first day, we got this deal for our developer. And, we closed that, and then we just got many more deals after that. And then one day, there was a property that came on the online auction. You could tear it down and build 3 condos. And we just put in a number, 300K. We didn't think we were actually going to win. And then we won. And then we got a call. And they were like, yeah, you got to close in 12 days. We're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
We do not have 300,000. He just brokered a deal that was $2 million for another developer, and he got that commission coming in. It was like 65K. And I'm like, we're going to use this money as a down payment to get a loan. And I had to research. I got a bridge loan. We closed it, right? And then 2020 happened. And then we're paying this high interest rate on this house, right? It's bridge loan. And we eventually got a construction loan. And then we hired this GC, and we got a lot of lesson learned from this GC. Tons of lessons, but it built to us where we're at today. And those lessons, I never take for granted because I learned a lot. I got $160,000 worth of change orders. I learned a lot,
Moral of the story, don't pay for masterminds. Pay for bad GCs because they will teach you the most.
It will teach you a lot. And from there on, we was like, what, we went through thick and thin, we went through a lot of bullshit, but we've learned, and now, we have a project manager, we have systems in place. We're putting in, bookkeepers, we got VAs, so, we're just building this.
So what's next? What are you going to do next? Stay in Philly, get out of Philly, go to Florida? What do you want to do?
No, we'll probably still stay in Philly, but, we want 2,000 units, right? That's just the goal.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. That's the goal in the next, 10 years. But honestly, I feel like you just can't stop because, it's just like a passion. And yeah, I don't think I'll ever chill, but I would like to just keep designing homes and keep acquiring places.
When you got time to get married, that's what our family wants to know.
Yeah, that's a whole nother question.
Where do you get the ideas to design the homes?
His designs are awesome too, by the way. If you haven't just seen them, like,
I haven't.
You look at them, you're like, wow, these are nice luxury. Like, they're badass. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I look at them like they're those TikTok videos in a way.
I get inspo from social media, honestly.
Really?
Like, most people get distracted by Instagram and TikTok. I go on there for the right reasons. I'm straight business. Late at night on the toilet, I'm just scrolling through, getting inspo, and then I just screenshot it, and then I just look on Google everywhere where I can find this shit. And then, like,
Alibaba.
I'll just start piecing shit together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So basically, you get naked, you get in the right headspace, you get some Kleenex and some Google action, and then you find your inspo. I get it.
Yeah, man, it's so funny because literally, like, I will, like, for example, we have these 3 homes, right, that are in the same stage. And I'm like, shit, I got to come up with 3 different ideas and themes. It's very overwhelming.
So you make them different. You don't really do like the same thing over and over then, huh?
No. It's just like, like I go through
That's
a phase.
custom.
Yeah, it's all custom. It's custom home building at the end of the day. I can't do the builder shit. And I found in this market, you got to build well, you got to execute, and you got to have a good area.
I will say that at least what I'm seeing in our market is the craftsmanship did not matter 2 years ago. The craftsmanship today matters. The paint lines, how straight things are, like just the little details is what's separating. Because there's so many people that are jumping in real estate. It's like, what's going to separate your property from this one? We can't paint over the plug outlets anymore. If you're like in the same neighborhood, what's going to separate your property? Well, how the fuck's your property look?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
and that's how I treat my rentals. That's my whole theory with rentals is I do it right, and I'm going to get it rented first. I literally do not keep slanted floors. I rip up all the subfloor. I re-level the joists. It's like $7,000 to $10,000 more because of the just labor and the material.
And at your price point, you have the ability to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Even in these neighborhoods I rent or whatever, get rental, I still do it because I had issues. Literally, like I put luxury LVP down on slanted floors. And then I get a call 2 years later, or it's like, it's all shit. It's all cracking. And I'm like, I got to spend $7,000 to re-level everything. So you might as well do it right the first time.
I like that. That's a great piece of advice. You might as well do it right the first time.
Yeah, measure, cut twice. Or measure twice, cut once. And I learned with contractors, you only get 2 of the 3 things. You either get speed, cost, or quality or value. Yeah.
His dad says that all the time.
Exactly. You can only get 2 of the 3.
Yeah,
so
can't have them all.
No, never.
What Scalers Only Mastermind is something that we created about I would say actually
few years ago.
About a year ago.
A year ago. The mastermind,
Yeah, the actual mastermind itself, and how instrumental or not instrumental has mentors, and you talk about doing things right the first time. How instrumental has mentors and all that stuff been to you and your business?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important because you do learn a lot from these people. Like, take it for granted, right? Because
It sounds like you've learned a lot from mistakes.
Yeah, that too. But because those mentors can also guide you in a way where you can avoid those simple things. Like I just kept asking questions. I'm the question master, right? Like I got no problem just asking questions, asking for money. Like I'll if I'm raising money, I'll just ask.
Yeah.
With help, I just ask because the worst they can say is like "fuck off." But the best thing they can do is they actually help you.
Do you pay for mentors, or is that?
Mine are all organic.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that stage yet. I just I like my marketplace and the people in my marketplace, and everyone's there's deals go around, right? So everyone, we all share, the same problems. We all do, at least in our Philly community.
Yeah.
We there's shiesty GCs that everybody talks about, so you gain knowledge that way. You just look out for each other because we always feel handshake, right? I'm a handshake guy. I trust people, and that's actually one of my first mistakes, right? Is just trusting everybody. But you get to learn, and the more you share, the more you understand. So that's how I view how it should work, right? And everyone just looks out for each other.
I have one burning question I've been dying to ask you. What is the best Philly cheese in Philly?
Don't even ask me.
I was gonna
We won't talk about that
So
story.
there's Angelo's cheesesteak.
Ooh,
That's
shout out Angelo's.
Yeah, fire. You have to wait for it. You have to get lucky and get on the phone, but they use Cooper Sharp. They use ribeye, and they have a seeded roll, Sarcone's Bakery, that's made in-house. Dave Portnoy was there. He rated their pizza, and it's amazing. So, gotta go there. Angelo's Cheesesteaks. You don't remember your cheesesteak.
We won't talk about that cheesesteak.
That was funny.
I just remember the receipt.
Angelo's.
Sounds like Bobby.
Have you ever sold any of your houses to any of the sports guys or any?
So we have people on our real estate team, they sold to Eagles players, in Jersey, and then we have actually listings coming up called The Bend, right? And these condos are starting at $2 million, and they're in this old city, and we have Eagles players that are definitely it's going to be targeted towards them 76ers athletes because it's a very boutique exclusive condominium.
What's that spot in Philly? It's like a giant stadium where you walk in. There's bars on each corner. Yeah, that place is. It's literally you walk in, and it's there's a Irish bar over here, then there's a brewery over there, then there's a hip hop bar over here, country bar, a Jimmy Buffett bar down here. It was so sweet.
It's right in the middle of all the stadiums.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Everyone that leaves the Wells Fargo or Lincoln, they'll walk to Xfinity and you can it's huge. It's just
We went there.
We went there.
What was this? Maybe 2018, and there was a giant UFC fight, and I'm like, dude, this
It's
this
great.
place. No matter what your speed is, you go there and have a good time.
It's so many people. There's just a lot of drinks flowing.
Yeah.
It's just a good time. Especially
Terry
during-
likes that.
Especially during the Eagles.
No, there was no
Yeah, we
assholes,
went down
which
there
was
for one of the
great.
Eagles games.
Everyone was friendly. Even for a UFC fight, I was like,
Oh yeah.
I was like, it's gonna get
Who's your biggest
crazy.
idol right now?
A lot of affliction dudes.
What'd you say?
Who's your biggest idol right now? Who do you look up to the most?
Idol? Damn, man.
Damn, I don't think we've asked that question before.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Actually, I haven't really thought about that.
Minus me, because
You
This
can
is
say
the part
your
where
hell.
Bobby wants to talk to you about Jesus.
it's Jesus.
No, I mean, I go through phases of
JK.
looking into people's histories, especially large real estate developers. The most recent one I heard about was Sam Zell.
Yeah.
And I just heard about him. and-
Wealthiest real estate investor of all time.
Yeah, I was like, huh? And I heard his podcast and everything, and so I read his whole bio. I was like, holy shit, this dude literally started with college housing. His whole thing was actually really smart. So yes, I go through phases where I hear about certain developers, and I'll just try to get things from them.
Yeah, he's had a really unique journey. He just sees things and he keeps things so simple.
Yes.
You know, he thinks so in such simple terms.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool to me about the real estate industry in general. It's like it's kind of the equalizer of dummies. Like you can be whomever from wherever, you know, and you can be successful in this business.
At the same time, as far as like I like to also bring up for like mentorships, you don't necessarily have to pay for a mentorship. You can find mentors in this local community and people that you know look at, especially with the resources and YouTube, everything. You can get gems and everything that you call knowledge, everything just from looking up different things and considering people mentors.
Agreed.
Not always something that you have to pay for.
I really want their time, I'm going to pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people starting, they're like, I don't have any money. You know what? You don't have to go get a paid one. Go find a mentor that you look up to and see what they're doing. Just research them.
Especially novices, you're just starting out. I mean, it's the easiest way. Get on YouTube.
Smartest way too.
Vibe with. You love what they're doing. You love what they're about, and just learn. Or even people in your city, man.
Yeah, city. You know what they say. Your network is your net worth. It's an old adage, but it's so true. It's very simple. Like you have to have these people that are in your circle. Like there's no doubt. Like that's very important. You can't do this alone. Like that's why I'm a huge believer in partnerships. I got started with partners, and I don't mind that. Now a lot of people say partners are for dancing, blah blah blah. But if you find like
never heard that one before.
Oh yeah, like but if you have a good partnership, you cherish it. Like it definitely helps you because you just gotta find someone. And I guess it applies to real life, I guess. But,
no, because we can't dance worth shit.
Yeah, I try.
Like in our business partnership, I'm the more like organized, systemized person, and he's just a super.
So
impressive.
you guys have read the book Traction?
No, I did not.
Oh my God. Okay, go read the book Traction. It's going to change your life. I think we have to have it up here somewhere.
It's right there.
Right there. Boom. That book right there will absolutely change. It won't change you, but it'll confirm everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
But then you'll be able to dive way more deeper into who you guys are as people to be able to just really hone in just even more than where you're already at.
Yeah. I mean, that's the key to a good partnership. You got to trust them, right? And it's just like you go through shit together. We both get burned. We learn from it. I can't have someone just quits on me. Like, it hasn't happened yet, but I'm just saying, like, you need a good, solid foundation.
Biggest piece of advice?
My biggest piece of advice is honestly learn from the mistakes and ask questions. Like, that's the key. Become a question master. No matter how stupid you think the question is, there's always someone to help you, and it's going to keep getting you further and further and further. You never know who you're going to ask the right question to that right person. It's going to open up a whole flood of doors.
Yeah. Love it, man.
That's great.
Rob, appreciate you being on the show today.
Oh yeah, how do they get a hold of you? What's your companies? You have like a bunch of them now, or the easiest way?
Look, Waybar Development. It's on Instagram. I don't even have the password. We have some girl that's running it.
Thought you were the organized one.
It is not
what
me.
happened?
I'm just gonna read it. And then Philly_real estate_ Rob on Instagram. You can follow our real estate teams, all our listings, anything Philly related. I got you.
Love it, man. Well, hey, pleasure having you, man.
Yeah, for
Until
sure.
next time. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Scalers Only Show, where we talk real estate, business, lifestyle, everything in between. Until next time, peace.